Hello Settlers people, what you're about to see is the footage from a Showmatch that I recently casted. The participating players are one of the best from our community. The two captains, General and Zena, are the winners of our 2v2 tournament from 2023. At the beginning of the video you'll get to see the picking phase and then we'll dive straight into the game. This might be a recurring event, so stay tuned for more. If you want to catch the action live, follow my Twitch channel. Link is in the description. Enjoy! Welcome everyone, I hope you can hear me just fine. First of all, happy International Women's Day to everyone, to every female that's watching. And I guess we're about to start the game. As you can see in the chat, I hope you can see them. The players have already chosen the teams. This is the second show match that we had. Last one was won by Generalen, so he's 1 point. Has 1 point on Zena. And this time I would say teams are pretty even again. Interesting choice was Taka was picked first for Zena. First blazing obviously for General, but then Zena picked Konju and Taco, which I'm quite curious because I haven't seen Taco played for quite some time and I will be paying close attention to him. So the map is mirrored, but apparently they will not aim to mirror the races. I'm curious where that leads us, and hopefully the game will be interesting. Last one was pretty good, although I guess there wasn't a lot of fighting with big armies. Okay, this scares the shit out of me. I don't know if you can hear the sound, but okay, I guess they're picking now. Four Asians right off the bat. Okay, that's going to be interesting. Rules is not playing this time, but we will have Asian representation nonetheless. And then Taco and Eagle mirroring Romans. I will see if we'll have an Amazon, because if not, then the game might lack gold, at least in large amounts. Konju and General going for Romans as well. Blazing for Amazons, and Zena, will he go for Amazons? Yes, he does. Alright, so we do have Amazon in the game. I guess Zena's race is, Amazons are his favorite race, so it'll be interesting how he goes up against Blazing. I'm gonna switch the screen. Alright. There's a 7 minutes delay, as usual. Please let me know in chat if you experience any issues, but it should be fine. At the beginning, I'll need a few moments to show the teams on screen, and we'll get to introducing the players and the spots. Eagle Schnauzer always loading slightly slower. I don't know what that is. It's either, maybe it's not the connection, it's his PC actually. And the game is paused right off the bat. There have been a few changes to the game since the last show match, so we'll see if they have an impact. I'll try to brief them and briefly show them what they are, although I'm not really entirely familiar with them, but I should be okay. Okay, you should be able to see the teams at all times in the left side, on the left side of the screen. Let's introduce the teams and the players, and let's see how the positions have spawned. Okay, maybe I'll go for this configuration so we get the better idea of what the players can see. And first of the right of the bat, it's Blazing with the Amazons. There is, I guess, safe from any immediate danger. That should be interesting how these Amazons will develop. And his counterpart is Zena. I would say it's a great spot for the Amazon. And I guess that should be their go-to play for both teams. Make sure the Amazons get enough time to develop. Unless one team concludes that their Amazon is weaker and that they need to end the game early on to avoid getting outproduced by the other Amazon. Second pair of players is gonna be Generalen and Konju. Playing Romans here. Shoreline spot, but it's a good one, surprisingly. A lot of stone, which Romans really like, but they're close by. Decent shoreline. I mean, you can't build these fishes too close, but it's still good enough. Plenty of trees. Space is a bit scarce for long play, but they can always expand into the middle. There's nothing really limiting them in that regard. The mountain will obviously slow them down, but it shouldn't be too bad. Konju obviously the same spot right here. Although from this perspective, his spot looks worse, way worse than the islands. But it's just the perspective, they're exactly the same. Now let's jump into the middle. Eagle Schnauzer here playing against Taco. I think Taco has significantly better rating in terms of elo. Not really sure how, by like 200 or something. So technically, theoretically, he should be better off, and he should well outproduce his opponent. And they're very close to each other, so that might be an interesting duel right there. Although not gonna be a duel obviously, because they have their allies right in the back. Their position is tricky, I would say. Not a lot of trees at the beginning, although it's not too bad obviously, but they have to expand towards the middle. They chose sort of a safe option, I would say, for Taco. He's not expanding aggressively over the mirror. I think that's possible, right? It's not... Yeah, because it wouldn't be possible if it was team positioning, then you wouldn't be able to go over the mirror. But in this case, it is possible. So they... I guess they're expanding pretty conservatively and pretty slow, nothing too crazy. And then right behind them, the Asians. That's going to be Hanzi up against Varys. In this case, wherein Eagle Schnauzer was slightly underrated for Taco. In this case, I think Hanzi has an upper hand on Varys. Who's more experienced? I mean, Hanzi is, I think, a slightly more experienced player. But we'll see. Nothing is set in stone until they play. And their position is better. I'm curious how they split the land here, because there is a nice little swamp. And I'm curious if the Asians will need it, although probably not, because there's plenty of swamp right there. Good spot for the Asians as well. So far nobody is screwed completely in terms of positions. There might be some tensions how they split the land, but it shouldn't be too bad. They're all on Discord, I presume, so they should be able to reach an agreement on how to split the land. And right off the bat, you can see the change I was talking about. When you build the building, this little plate that should not be there, but it's there in the new version for some reason. I'm not really sure why. It looks odd to me, to be honest. And then the last pair of opponents is Inspector Gadget up against Mupfel, playing Asians as well. Very close to each other, and they're sort of in the pocket spot right in the north. And the spot is also really good for the Asians. There's 2 swamps, I think, only. This one and this one. Can't seem to find any other ones. But it should be that both are buildable for both players, I hope. Yeah. Okay, he already saved the land, so they should be good. And they also split more or less in the middle. I guess they both will build a tower up in the north and secure the land. Plenty of stone on the whole map. But surprisingly enough, there's also a lot of mountain. So I guess there's abundance of everything, which is great. The game should maybe theoretically go into the long late game, considering of how the spots are and how how everyone doesn't really have to rush in order to keep developing. So I'm curious how will that play out. Yeah, let me know what you think about the changes. I know there are some players who they really dislike it, and it's not just the change of with the visual change with the buildings. There's also change of how the workers, I guess, behave. The builders should be more responsive. They should reach the building site faster. Although that's not the case here, so I'm not really sure that was implemented. Moop were already searching the mountain, found a great call, and he will be able to snatch the mountain from his enemy here, and I guess he will reach that call. I'm not really sure if he will be able to build the mine himself, but he'll definitely disrupt that from Gadget. Not huge loss though. There's plenty of mountain for everyone. As you can see, both the Amazons are pioneering towards the mountain. I'm not really sure if they can go over it, although Konju isn't really trying to secure that spot, which I think he should, because if Blazing manages to go over the mountain, I think that will be really bad for Konju, and there will be pressure in a way to take it back. It won't be impossible, obviously, but getting a foothold over this mountain would be great for the Amazon, providing they can hold it. Whereas on the other hand, Generalen is making sure to secure this little valley here. And depending on how close to the mountain he places the tower, he will steal some of the mountain from White. There's this little patch of snow, I mean not a little, but there is a patch of snow cutting off both teams, so they're fairly secure. They should split the mountains evenly because of it. And I guess Asian spells will come in handy when there will be time to attack or uncover some of the resources. Now I see somebody mentioning on the spot on the chat, Blazing Dreams for the Amazon have really good spots, but I think everyone on the map has a good spot. I don't think there is a single player that's unhappy, maybe except the guys in the middle, although they still have everything they need. Plenty of stone, plenty of space, it's just more brittle. I think the terrain is slightly rougher. This big ass desert in the middle doesn't help, obviously. Mention again, there is this useful bar at the top of the screen. You can see this is the number of soldiers, this is the combat power, and this is the number of free settlers that the players have right now. Currently, if you want to know which player is it about, you have to take a look at the bottom left to see which players I have selected. So currently we're looking for stats for Blazing, and I hope when you switch, yes, it should switch for whoever I'm selecting. Blazing placing the large tower to secure the mountain, and he should be able to do so. And I think, yeah, maybe Zena will do something similar. I'm curious for the builds. Last time I was a bit, I mean, I wasn't flaming. I was just slightly surprised of what path of development Generalen chose, and he was upset that I said some. I mean, not mean, I disapproved of his build, and so I'm curious what he will go for this time. And it's, again, a slightly surprising build for me, but nothing too unorthodox. It looks like it's 4 wineries and a single farm before weaponsmith. Fairly standard. You could even go for 2 here. I would go for something crazy, to be honest, in this spot. This is a perfect spot for level 3 push with a spear. So you either go for maybe 5 wineries or 4 great wineries you can place, and then 5 small temples, which you can barely support. You don't really have a lot of terrain to place the temples correctly, so that they all, so that the wine is distributed evenly. But you can try, I think. And the mountains are really great. My question is, would that be enough to kill off the Amazon here in the back? But I would go for it. I think that would be my main plan for the game. Although that's me, I really like the level 3 push with the spears. I think it's pretty deadly. Blazing going for 2 large towers. He really wants to secure those mountains. Obviously, large towers have slightly bigger radius of the border that they claim, so that's good for him. Zena looks like he's slightly faster, but that's maybe because he's not investing a lot into those towers here, and he already has the beekeeper's hut and already shoveling the weaponsmith. I wonder if that's his standard build or if he's afraid of some sort of push, but I mean, it's probably pretty standard. I would invest into a farm here maybe. I also wonder if he will receive a 4th saw with a sawmill, but I guess there isn't really anyone that could send him. Maybe the Roman here from the middle. That'd be a nice idea, because Taco isn't going for 3 sawmills anyway. Maybe they're actually doing it, they're just not, I'm not seeing it, but I don't think so, right? That would be a great idea to transfer the saw to the Amazon. They could use it a lot on this spot here. It looks like Eagle's Schnauz is also not using the 3rd saw. So yeah, so that's a slight oversight on their part if they chose not to do so. So the most explosive part of the map is, I would say, right here in the middle, when the 2 Romans are up against each other. I guess that's where a lot of spying will have to go down. Long border in conjunction with Romans having an Asian in the back. It could mean some sort of pressure. Maybe even with swords, but obviously we know that's not happening, but it could happen in theory. How is Konji doing? I was sort of upset of his performance in the last game. Looks like he's doing alright just now. This farm is a bit wonky, if I have to say. But maybe if he crashes this stone cutter, it will have enough space to plant. Oh yeah, the sign on the mines, you're right. It's actually visible, although it looks awfully similar to the sign that are placed by the geologists. But once they disappear, yeah, you can see them. That's actually good. And now mines, they do not block enemy. They do not block movement until they're being built, from what I understand. Or if there are materials there, they don't have to be built, but you need materials to deliver to the site, something like this. So it's to prevent from, trapping enemy soldiers, or just flat out blocking the movement of soldiers across the mountain, which a lot of players don't like. I don't mind it, but a lot of players don't like it. I think attacking over the mountain is a bad idea anyway. If you can avoid it, do so. Looks like Generalen and Konju, they're both mirroring each other's builds, and they're fairly similar in terms of how fast they develop, I guess. Konju, weaponsmith already, same for Generalen. They both went for 2 sawmills, which, again, it's very conservative build, very standard, and I would like to see something crazy here. And speaking of crazy, there's some pioneering going on from Hanzi towards Konju, towards the mountain here. But I guess it's the same. Varus is doing the same, although maybe slightly less aggressive. It looks like Hanzi wants to build a tower right here, and Konju sees it with a spy. See what he does about it. I guess he already decided what he'll do about it. He's building a tower for himself over the mountain, which is smart. You don't want to lose all the mountain, because he lost a big chunk of it to blazing here on the right. only now farm being built for Zena. And no, I guess he did not receive that that saw, so he will have to build a toolsmith of his own. That's kind of surprising to me. That's very surprising. I don't see the saw for Taka though. But that's there. It's just not visible. They're transferring pioneers. That's Inspector Gadget. How are the Asians doing in the middle? That's Moopful. Against the Inspector. Fairly standard, but like 2 rice farms and a farm and a weaponsmith. On the other hand, 2 rice farms and a farm and a weaponsmith. Both mirroring each other. The only difference is it looks like Moopful will be able to place the mine here, so it's a slight victory for him. And as a result, because he took that little pocket here in the middle, he will be able to build another tower and then cut off from more mountain from Gadget. So it looks like there's a slight pressure, small victory for Generalin's team on 2 sides. Here, Inspector lost the mountain, and then Konju here is also under a lot of pressure. So if they manage to establish those towers and defend them, they will have slightly more mountain for themselves. But it's obviously very long play scenario. You can see there's no way Hanzi here can use all the advantage that he got from those mountains just yet. But in the long term, maybe it will give them some sort of edge. Tako here spying on his neighbor. Looks like that they both don't want to expand here in the middle. That would secure the mountain for them. And if you can imagine if this guy here, Eagle, if he expanded here, they would technically cut off them. They could connect here and they would have the control over the middle. Obviously there is a passage here, but it's not, I mean, you can't really get to it. So Konju and Gadget, they will be cut off in the long, like in an hour or so. That would be a slight complication for them. It's something they have to look out for. Maybe let's use the fancy vision camera here. Although this the movement is pretty jittery when you select someone's vision, especially if he's moving like crazy. But from his vision we can see he is trying to spy on Zena. It looks like he lost something here. Maybe it was a soldier, not a spy. Not really sure. And he sees there's a bit of pressure from Varus to those towers, so he's going over the mountain. Similar to Konju, except Konju is slightly more conservative and he's expanding. He's expanding here. Single spy out in the field. Oh no, there's another one. Going for Blazing Star. He should try to find his gold stash as soon as possible, because that's a long shoreline and you can drop ships there like crazy. Let's see if Eagle is spying on Tako. Yes, he is. Well, that's curious actually for me. I thought he wasn't spying sort of dude. I thought he would just play back, play safe. Tako. Yeah, also spying. Okay, so both teams have nice idea of what their opponents are doing. I guess that's a high-level game, so it should be obvious, but it's worth checking. Neither gadget nor multiple are not adding a fourth sawmill. Well played, we're really safe. Doing both everyone at this point and on the map, I think. Zena going for level 2 on the bows. He has not added a fourth sawmill just yet. He's now only... Oh, okay, so he won't go for the toolsmith, which I'm really curious about it. I don't really play Amazons that much as a spy from Generalen. More beekeepers. His mountain are good so far. That's a good mine. That's another one. Not the craziest, but it's buildable. This gem mine looks like it's getting better, 40%. That's another one. So that's a good spot for the Amazon, at least so far. That's plenty. Actually, that's plenty of sulfur right here. So he only needs to find like 1 or 2 more good gem mines, and he's set to go, I guess. Let's see if Blazing found the same resources. Oh, yes, he did. Cheeky little spy from Konju here. Why do you think Konju is underrated? I feel like he's very high on the ladder, isn't he? On the elo. He's 2nd or 3rd right now. I think that's pretty accurate ranking. And he was chosen here. Zena chose him first, along with Taco. So he's definitely... people definitely recognize his strength. What about that 4th weapon for Sawmill? No 4th Sawmill for Blazing. I feel like maybe someone correct me. I feel like that's a mistake. No, you should, especially considering the Romans in the middle, they don't really use the 3rd saw. It's right here. Just send it to the Amazon. I would speed the crazy, because you can see there's plenty of logs. You just need 1 saw. It would help them tremendously. This tower is nasty for Hansi. I'm sure Konji is pissed, because he took a big chunk of the mountain behind the snow. Maybe they'll try something sneaky to kill it, because that's far away from Hansi's barracks, so it's still vulnerable, the tower. Problem is they need gold for that, obviously, and but it's definitely doable. Let's see if Konji decides to kick Hansi back a little bit and regain the control of those mountains. Looks like still nobody going here in the middle, and we have a pause. So it looks like we have a standard long, standard like very calm game, at least at the beginning. Maybe when we transition into a mid game and see some gold from the Amazons. Things will heat up, but so far it's very chill game. Sorry, was my mug. They're back. I guess not. Should be careful to not run out of pauses. I guess they don't see right when I type because I'm a spectator. Looks like Taco is shit talking already. I love it. So far, I would say the teams are going head to head. There's no one has a clear advantage. I'm not really sure who I would say is gonna win. Maybe Team 1 on the fifth on the hand side, but I think Team 2 can pull it off as well. I think they have Zena, who's slightly better at Amazons than Blazing. His builds are really flashed out with the Amazons from what I saw. And he, I mean, he can shine on this spot definitely. Lots of mountains, lots of space. Alright, oh, I guess everyone is back and we can resume the game. Get around going aggressively into 3 farms. Which I mean sounds strange, aggressively going into farms, but he has them really fast, and he has to store the wheat on the market, which is completely fine. But his small temples are late. This one is almost full, and they're really far away from the winery, so maybe he should add the 5th one, just to make sure. Only now he's adding a 3rd sawmill. And starting with a pig farm. Level 2 for the bows, sending them south. Kanji on the other hand, only 1 farm, but 2 weaponsmiths before Generalen. There is a priest from Varus, if I can see correctly. Not really sure what for. Maybe to melt some snow. If they could melt it here and push the tower, that would be pretty cool. And what I mentioned at the beginning, and at first glance, it looks like Generalen's spot is slightly better. He fed those farms here, which I guess Konju couldn't. It's somewhere here, right? I mean, maybe he could, but I feel like Generalen's spot looks slightly more manageable in terms of buildings. Which, I mean, it's a strange thing on the mirror. Looks like there is some enemy soldiers going up to Konju's land. I feel like they're not meant to attack or anything. They were just chasing something. They, not the priest, I don't think, because priest is already there. It was just some lonely sword marching up north. Anzioni now recruiting level 2, sending it north to Konju's border. Konju doesn't mean aggression so far. He's only making bows, and I think the first type of aggression Konju can do is when he has his first convert with some maybe level 2 swords, because the gold on Zena's side is started to being produced right now, and he has the he should have the pioneers, I hope. I don't think he does, because because these are blues, but blue is not Konju. It's this one. Konju is dark blue. So I hope he sends them soon, because this is it will be difficult to traverse this middle pretty soon. Some small clash, but nothing. It was just loose patrol. And the retreat was level 1 soldiers were lost. How is Moveful doing against Gadget? More or less even, except from what I can see, he has a 3rd weaponsmith, whereas Gadget invested into the toolsmith first. I hope he saved the hammer. which he did. Great. So he'll have nice smooth transition. Eagle already signaling that there are two players up against him, which, I mean, it goes without saying. Varus is here in the back, although Varus has to be careful about General, because he did build those towers. And Hanzi on the other hand, he's not supporting his ally. He sent everything north to protect those two ambitious towers. I'd like to see a big, large temple for Konju. Because we're reaching 30-minute mark, and that's about when you have your first convert. I would say 32 minutes, depending on when you place your medium or small temples, I should say. He's adding some melee weapons, some swords, a few spears here and there. I don't think spears are necessary, but having like 15 or 10 swords would benefit a lot for him. He could pressure those towers here, the convert too especially, and I guess he is moving those pioneers to the gold, which is great. He's pinging the gem mine for his ally, because he sees it on his side of the map. But I guess he's not pinging the correct spot, because that mine is across on General's side. Now at the beginning I was saying that Hanzi should have an upper hand on the Varus, at least in my opinion. I think he's a slightly better player. But so far they're more or less even, from what I can say. I mean, the Varus country doesn't look as clean as Hanzi's, but I think they're more on the same level. 2 farms for him, 1 farm for Varus, which is a pretty bad one too. Yeah, I think that's really pretty ambitious to try to take this gem mine, considering I think General can just place a tower and destroy the mine. Yeah, probably this one or these removes those trees. General only now adding the large temple, which is around the same time as Konju. He does have an advantage over Konju though, and that's growing by the minute. Konju only 2 farms right now, and this one is only started to work, whereas General has 3 fully fledged farms harvesting wheat and already has a pig farm, which, I mean, to be frank, Konju also does have. This tower though, kind of scary. With the ships, I mean, there's no rules in the game, but doesn't mean that someone else can get the same idea from him. And I'm curious where we'll see the first sign of aggression on the map. Will it be the Amazon being pushed, or the guys in the middle trying something sneaky? Guys in the middle, pretty close, I would say. 2 farms for... oh no, 3 farms for Eagle, 3 farms for Taco, same one. They all started with the, they have a pig farm, but also have a grain mill. Pretty close. 4 small temples, Only 3 for Taka though, right? Yep, okay, so that's a slight deviation. That means Eagle will have an convert advantage over Taco during the whole game, basically. He will have one more convert, or almost one more convert more than him. The gold for Blazing is in pretty, I would say, vulnerable spot. The priest or whoever can land here and go get very close to gold unnoticed. Whereas for Zena it's slightly more in the middle. Zena has the 4 sawmills, and Blazing should also have it. Yep, so they're more or less even on this ground. 3 weaponsmiths for Blazing. He has slightly more gold than Zena, but Zena has some sulfur and gems stored, so once these labs get to work, they should be very even. Fourth farm by Zena, which, I mean, that's surprising for me. Do you actually need that much food as the Amazon? Blazing doesn't think so, because he only has 2. And these beekeepers are, I think, in a slightly unfortunate position, because he is sort of limiting his ground for weaponsmiths, and he might need that land to build his heavy production. But it shouldn't be too bad, because he can expand in the south as well. I'm curious if Konji recruited those level 2 swords. And if he added more, as 16, so only 4 more. And he is splitting the army evenly, so he's not looking to put any pressure here, which, I mean, he should, and he sees it too, because he has this tower. There's a fight in the middle, which I almost missed. That's because Taco has a convert, and that's the convert for Eagle is only now coming in. How much combat power does Taco have? It's 38%, 9%. There's another attack going in from Varys in the north. Well, I imagine if he lost those 2 towers, that would be devastating for him. Unfortunately, there's no priest for Varys there, so he cannot call any additional melee troops to claim those towers, but that would hurt him really badly. I feel like that was the opening that they had, and they didn't take advantage of it. And at this point, Eagle still has a convert, whereas Taco does not, because he used it, and Eagle also has 1 more small temple. So they have to be careful there, because Taco is in a disadvantage there, and those 2 towers are just waiting to get sniped, to be honest. There are 2, but it doesn't matter really if they're 2 small ones, because you can still you take 2 small towers as fast as you take 1. So that doesn't really make any difference. General here posturing, he's making a move, I think, right? Yeah, those are his soldiers. He has the spider, and Varys can still crush the tower, but he might not. Oh, yeah, okay, he's paying attention, that's great. It would still take General a lot of time to claim the tower, because he only has these swords are level 2, and he only has 50% combat power. And Varys could make pioneers and all sort of stuff to the limb. So it wasn't a done deal, even if he got to the tower. We have a lot of action, so we have a bit of action so far, but I think they gave up additional any additional aggression in the middle, because Varys is sending reinforcements to I think Konji, right? North, because Eagle, not Eagle, sorry, Gadget and Mupfel, they should be basically dueling here, and they can always call for help if needed. I would really like to see some aggression from Konju. He still can do it with the 2 conduits. He can still push those towers, and that would give him a lot of ground. And I think Hansi moved a lot of soldiers. I mean, still soldiers south. I didn't see if they called, but definitely sent some reinforcements. Because with time, it won't be possible. Blazing will just have too much, and he will just swarm him from this side. And Konju doesn't even have mountain to his advantage because they're all on the side of Blazing, so he has to stay really far back and defend from there. But right now, Blazing doesn't really have enough power to overwhelm him, even if Konju invests some soldiers here in the middle. I feel like there's an opening, but it's closing pretty fast. And we also have to keep in mind that there are 4 agents on the map, so the mobility should not be an issue. And we should be seeing some flashy plays. They're not investing into more farms and pig farm and mana production already. Whereas Blazing adding more weaponsmith instead. Also a farm, but not as many as for Zena, and also one meat maker hut. But definitely investing more into army. 4, and that's a 5th weaponsmith. Whereas Zena is for now sticking to 4. It looks like General has already forfeit the chance of attacking Zena because he's adding those towers, which I really don't like. I feel like he had an opening of doing some sort of aggression on level 3 speeds or wherever. And looks like he will just rely on his late game. About this time he's running out of space on the left hand side of the mountain. He's adding final buildings, and now he'll transition either north here or yeah, on the right, adding more and more farms. That's going to be a total of 8. Oh, you're definitely lacking the space that Generalen has. He has not cleaned this these trees too, so he's struggling more and more with buildable terrain. And falling slightly behind on the economy. 2 weaponsmiths, but really one is working, whereas Generalen has 2, but the 3rd one is also standing already. More players, adding more towers. I've heard it's supposed to be more difficult to bunker these days because they take more time to level the ground for additional towers where they're close by. But I guess just adding 1 additional tower is not considering to be building a bunker. It's just reinforcing the border so they shouldn't be punished too much. Somebody pinging the gems here, but I don't think any Amazon can reach there, even if they really, really want. hopeful working with 3 sawmills still, and 5 farms already, whereas Gadget also 3 sawmills and a similar number of farms. They concluded probably that they don't have enough space to build a 4th sawmill to make it work, and they're just taking the 3. I think I would add a 4th one. No problem there. There's plenty of trees you can just cut, and they have plenty of logs laying around. And definitely more stone cutters, not for the stone, just to clear the land and make sure you have buildable terrain. The space for Gadget here and Konju is getting tighter and tighter. They have this little pocket here to work with, which they will have to start using pretty soon, unless Konju decides to make some moves here in the middle, which he should. Right now it looks like Varus is pushing. That's 42% combat power. 52 now, so he's actively taking the gold. I don't think he has enough troops to take the tower, although there are some swords from the left. I'll zoom in so you can see better, because the armies are pretty small. I'm looking at the mini-map, making sure I don't miss any other fights that are happening simultaneously. Looks like Hanzi is abandoning the tower on the right, which I would really like to see some snow melted and some troops for Konju trying to snatch that tower, which would be pretty good. Looks like Konju is not in position to do so. He's only now sending troops from the north, so that looks like pretty uncoordinated attack, which is a shame, because I feel like this could do a lot of damage. Hanzi already emptying the tower on the right. Konju is not going for it. He's instead transitioning south. He doesn't have gold, but he can still support his ally from his own border right here. This tower is not crushed, it's just he emptied the tower and then Konju put his own soldiers in it. 1 tower falls for Varus though, and looks like Hanzi is under a lot of pressure in the north. As I mentioned, he didn't have enough troops there to defend the land, but looks like they're now going back, hopefully only to reposition and bring additional troops, melee especially, to claim those towers. Konju is sending in some more in the north, but he's going back. I'm not really sure what's happening. There's no priest from Konju here, there's nothing there, and I feel like this is a pretty easy win for them. In a few moments, they won't have enough because Hanzi is bringing some more reinforcement from the south. I don't think anything else happened on the map at the same time that they had to pull back. There's at this point there's enough gold to make some moves. Konju adding additional swords, so maybe they're looking for another attack pretty soon. There's no priest there for Hanzi too, which means wherever army he has here that's all he can use to defend. He's not recruiting right now, which I think is a mistake. He has plenty of settlers, and he has plenty of weapons. That's really another mistake that Konju and Varus are not using to their advantage. Then I'll definitely be first in terms of level 3, but I don't think it's close even. How does it look? Oh yeah, there's only Only another level 2. Maybe he can click another one. I don't think so. I think it's still like 10 minutes away from level 3. Same for Blazing, but he's working only with 2 small temples, whereas Zena has 4. His production is slightly better, 7 weaponsmiths against 4 for Zena, and he's not really adding more, which is quite surprising. He played really heavy into economy, into food economy, which Amazons don't normally do. But I guess he ran out of gems and sulfur that he can harvest, which I guess he concluded the mines aren't that great. Interesting. He's lacking fish slightly. I mean, just barely has enough, maybe. Okay, so I feel like... Okay, another pause. I feel like Blazing should have an advantage very, very soon over Konju. And he could make some moves. Especially if Konju decides to attack the middle guy, Hanzi, and use mana, then Blazing should try something. Some technical issues for Eagle have been resolved. We can resume the game. So 4 against 7, I guess 6, because this one doesn't have a tool. That's a huge difference, and we'll see if we'll be able to capitalize on that. Blazing has plenty of settlers, plenty of everything. He built this medium residence, for anyone wondering, to bring settlers here close to the mines, which is a really clever idea. And nobody's still moved into this middle pocket, which is, I mean, quite interesting for me. I feel like that should be a land that's contested by both teams. It not only provides mountain, it also provides passage to the other side, and effectively cutting off 2 players for the other team if you manage to control it. Now, interesting move. There are some troops from Mupfel traveling down south, I guess, to secure these 2 towers for General. And maybe, I'm just not sure if that's to let General move more to the south and pressure Zena, or to just reinforce the border because he's afraid of Varus. We'll see. I wish I could see the graph of the soldiers on the map. I feel like General has more than Konju, but on the same time, Blazing should have technically more than Zena, which he does, but only with a slight difference. Whereas General 150 and Konju 140. Yeah, so the differences are still very small. And Konju lacks decisiveness here, and Hanzi is sending more and more reinforcements, and he also has a priest there, so I think the window I was talking about of opportunity of taking at least this tower has closed, and right now that's not possible, and Konju will have to start worrying about the right side of his country, because Blazing is amassing huge army. And I was curious if Zena decided to wait for level 3, but I don't think he is. Yeah, he resumed recruitment, and he's only very slowly adding more weaponsmiths, which is really curious. I feel like he could support 1 or even 2 more at this time. And he could be crazy enough to just wait for level 3, because in my opinion General is known for being passive in this sort of after the mid game, so I feel like he could get away with this, but he would have to make sure there's no spy from General, which we can check soon. I was just making sure there's nothing going on here. Are they keeping tabs? Okay, yeah, he has no clue what's going on at his land. There's been some sort of a spell that went down. Look, it sounded like an eye for the Amazon. Maybe Zena is checking in on the map. Yeah, but Geran has no idea who has the gold, how much the gold is. If Zena is waiting for level 3, nothing. So that would be a good time to play greedy. Whereas on the other hand, Konju has perfect view on the gold. And also on the production for Blazing. 3 spies there. Some soldiers in the north, in the south. Maybe someone else has is keeping tabs on Zena's gold, but I don't think so. Okay, let's go back to everyone's vision. Blazing adding another small cheeky residence here, again to lure settlers in, put it closer to the mines. Really smart play. I often forget about this, but it's a good thing after the feature was introduced. So at this point, the gadget has run out of space. We'll have to really work for additional large residences, which I guess he can maybe fit somewhere in the stone fields once he clears them out. There's one here maybe. At this point, he has to build wherever he can. Maybe he should start thinking about reducing some of these forest buildings, the forester and the woodcutters. I don't see anyone making a move in this side of the map. I think Mupfel, I don't think he has more, it's just that his soldiers are more clumped together, whereas Gadget has them split, and there's fewer soldiers in the south. Also, there's some soldiers from Mufel that are covering General's border. Looks like Hanzi grew some balls and is trying to capture the towers that he lost a few minutes ago. He's working with 75, 76 combat power. Should be easy retake, and that means the gadget here is in danger. I think he forgot that this tower isn't really protected, and that also means that he will maybe lose some of the mines here. That's a bold play for him, because there's nothing to protect him. Not only from Hanzi right now, but from Eagle in the south, so this all is going to the shitter. And I guess that means that they lost the connection. There's still pathway here, but it's really thin. I'm really baffled of why nobody is trying to take it. Konju investing heavily into spears, which is surprising for me. I guess Amazons have really difficult time dealing with them, but it looks like maybe he's trying to make a move on the Amazon, which I don't think he can really do right now. There's always calls, and they will make sure, obviously they cannot let Blazing die ever. He doesn't have any other towers in the back. Just a bit dangerous, but again he has a lot of soldiers and call from the Amazon. Zena does have a tower in the back. It has a soldier in there, right? No, it's empty, okay. So we can crush it if needed. looks like we are in for a longer one. Other than small fights, small clashes in the middle, there's not much going on. Gadget will lose all of these mountains. There's not that much there, I guess. 2 coal mines. I'm not sure how good they are. There's not really no iron that I can see. Maybe here is a pretty good one, but he should be able to secure it. And but there is some iron in the middle. I'm looking forward to them to taking control of it with actual towers and borders and shit. How is the production looking for Konju? 6 weaponsmiths, all working pretty much at all times. As for Generalen, that's also 6, so Konju managed to catch up, but I guess Generalen was investing into farms, heavily into farms at this rate. He has 8, whereas Konju has 6. Although Konju is catching up right now. Maybe he should invest more into fishes to supplement his food. No, Hanzi on the pinging. Hanzi working with 230 soldiers, 8 weaponsmiths, more or less all working, whereas his counterpart Varys, 6 weaponsmiths, and more or less the same number of soldiers. So they're going head to head so far. Varys is doing a pretty good job of staying close to Hanzi in terms of development. I feel like he had a slightly rougher start, a few hiccups with materials, but looks like now he's doing fine. Blazing managed to secure this cheeky little mine, only 50% though. Looks like Xena also took it, and for him it's 43%. I think it will change, but kind of funny. Gadget managed to secure the land. He built the towers in time. Obviously, he wasn't really in much danger before because he, like, his builders were closer. He had materials closer. But it's just funny that he crashed the towers previously, and he could have lost more. Funnily enough, these mines are still in his control. There's not that much there. I'm not really sure why they're not making any moves. They have just no idea, right, of what's there. And he's able to mine just by having 10 or 15 soldiers from his ally. I think that's a sloppy play by Hanzi. So, yeah, okay, now he's even bringing back the soldiers, so Nate will cover it. So a few missed opportunities for both teams. Here in the north for Konju, and here for Hanzi and Eagleschnauze. I'm curious how is the production now for Xena. He added some weaponsmiths, so that's 310 soldiers. Looks like he outproduced Blazing by quite a lot. But okay, never mind, he's now gathering the weapons on the market for level 3. Which is again surprising to me because Blazing was behind in terms of temples, and some of the weapons are taken by Hanzi, so that's why he only has 27 or something. Whereas Zena is recruiting at all times, and he doesn't have a level 3, which he should save for, because he's way closer. I mean, he already has it, okay, sorry. But he didn't gather any weapons for it. So in the grand scheme of things, once Blazing gets level 3, he should be ahead again. But it's still way, it's 40%. And he's only working with 3? Yes, 3 temples. Adding a big one, probably because he needs a priest. On the minimap, I'm looking that there's a lot more soldiers for Mupfel, and I'm curious if they see it as well, and if they decided to make a move. Let's maybe compare it. Compare the numbers. So that's 310, 330 for Mupfel, and then for Gadget, 260. So there's a pretty big deficit for Gadget, and he has to send some of them south to make sure he defends this tower especially, which is awfully placed. I mean, he had no other choice, obviously, but it could be easily taken by the enemy, especially considering there's not really that many troops there. So it's going to be a pain point for Konju and Gadget. They will be under a lot of pressure pretty soon, I reckon, both from Mupfel side and from Blazing Star. And as I mentioned, Mupfel has recognized that he has an advantage and now making a move. Let's switch the camera for him, maybe even the vision. He's working with 88% combat power and making a move on all fronts. I mean, mostly on the north, sorry. The south one is only now sending some swords. Gadget pulling back, smartly so. And so far the concave is slightly better for Gadget, but the number is always the advantage for Mupfel. I will zoom in so you can see better, because the armies aren't that great. The south attack should not succeed, because there's some reinforcements from Varus, as you can see. But in the north, Mupfel is not really fighting the best. I think he could use spread some soldiers or go back a little bit. So good defense there by Gadget. Another reinforcement called from Zena. There's an immortality spell on those swords. Not the immortality, the samurai sword. And he will be able to claim the south tower, but I think that's about it. He should not be able to claim the north one, unless they just completely blunder it. There's a freeze from Zena, slightly too late, converted by Konju, so they invested a lot of stuff into it, and that tower is saved, but at what cost? The north attack did not work out, but I feel like they exchanged it pretty evenly in terms of soldiers. We'll check later on. So unfortunately, both they sort of, I think there was a communication issue. I think Konju maybe had his priest slightly too far back, and obviously Zena didn't want to use the priest until the very last second when he had to. So after the dust settles, Mupfel has around 200 soldiers, whereas Gadget has 190. So that's about pretty even. Looks like Gadget managed to fight pretty good here in the north. I feel like Mupfel had a lot of his soldiers in the back getting stuck behind buildings. He should just choose wider concave. Maybe go from like the north part and just close on him instead of just going in the middle. The defender always will have an upper hand because he can choose where to fight, which buildings to crush and whatnot. So even though Mupfel lost small soldiers, I feel like they won the 2 spells, especially convert from Conjure. So that's a very small but a victory nonetheless for them. How far is level 3 from Blazing? He just hit it a few moments ago. He has still 70 bows to recruit, and we'll see if he decides to make a move onto Conjure. I feel like at this point Zena will outproduce him heavily because he invested a lot into the food early on, and the Blazing might struggle with Iron especially, I reckon. Yeah, in a few minutes we'll see how their armies compare once Blazing recruits everything. No, this is a fun little thing. That's a storage area right there, which can be built almost in any place, from where I can understand, because the building is not treated as a whole; it's just individual fragments are leveled, and that's a great change. I'd say the storage definitely needed some buff, some love, to be valuable again. Okay, maybe let's take a look at the middle guys. Taco and Varys still control this passage here, which Gadget is benefiting from. He took a big blow to his iron production though, which I didn't notice, but he lost this mine, which is not only mine but plenty of food. He lost this one and this one too, which is, I mean, sucks a lot for him. I think that's majority of his mines. It's not like he's suffering from lack of iron just yet, but he needs to rebuild them as fast as possible. So when we take a look at the minimap, we can see that the advantage of Blazing versus Conjure has grown significantly over the past few minutes. Blazing managed to recruit all of his weapons now, and he has 420 soldiers right now. Zena has 430, so even though Blazing had a bit of a better production early on, Zena managed to catch up to him, and he will now gain a even bigger advantage because of the early investment in food. Although I feel like Blazing has slightly more level 3 bows, and we'll see if the Amazons decide to make a move on their Roman opponents, because it looks like they can sense that they have an advantage there. I'm pretty sure, at least. Zena has 450 and Gedran has 380 soldiers. Obviously, Roman soldiers have more not combat power, more HP. So I feel like it's pretty even still, even though the numbers are in favor of Zena. But pretty soon, we should see some movement there. Obviously, there's this nasty mountain, which means when you go over it, it's fine, but you cannot really retreat easily. And that's maybe why players are hesitant to attack there. I would be. So let's check the production of the guys in the middle. I mentioned Taco has a big advantage in terms of elo over Eagle Schnauzer. So Taco working with 350 soldiers right now, whereas Eagle has 320, so that's very close. And their production is 5 weapons smiths for Eagle and 6 for Taco. Slight advantage, but nothing too crazy. Taco created a big ass food complex here in the south. Really saves space. Similar to Eagle Schnauzer, although not as many farms as Taco. Taco has 9, Eagle 10. Okay, so he managed to fit them somewhere else. So as you can see, the guys here on the left side, General and Mufel, are cut off from their team. At least on land. Obviously they can send ships, which I don't think anyone has just yet. They have Mufel has agents, so he can call reinforcements if needed. But having this passage here, and obviously addition mountain, plays a big role the longer the game goes. I'm curious if Mupfel is outproducing Gadget here. 300 soldiers almost. Gadget 270. So the production is pretty on par. And I don't think he will be able to apply any more pressure here. There's an attack going from Zena, and there's also an attack going in from between Konju and Blazing. I wish I had a split screen right now, but I don't. Zena working with 96% combat power. His angle is slightly unfavorable. I guess here Gana could step back a little bit. The fight is going pretty even so far. No spells for Zena just yet. Whereas on the north hand side, Konju is pulling back, but he should be fine against Blazing. I feel like he chose a good spot to fight. Zena still not casting anything, which he can. He's just waiting for this priest to die or something, because yeah, now his soldiers here are mortal, but Convert immediately going now from General. He missed a little bit, but I think he still caught a few soldiers, a few immortal soldiers, so he should be fine. There's no soldiers dying on this side of the front. The north part, I'm not really sure why he crushed the building. Okay, he wants to move forward a little bit. I feel like he helped Zena slightly more than him, but you can see Zena's soldiers dying really, really quickly. Amazons are really, really weak, so now he has to pull back from the north. But in the south he's doing slightly better, but still I don't think it's going to be enough. This priest should go back and not die. In the north, Konju is overextending into the front a little bit, but he's doing that because he has the mortality spell from Zena, and there's nothing Blazing can really do against it. He can't convert it on such, and he has to just go back. Zena disengages here. The fight were pretty even. I think General killed more soldiers, obviously, because of the Amazons. In the north, Blazing continues to push. Let's see how much combat power he has. That's 96, same as for Zena. But I feel like he has like bigger numbers there. Konju throwing convert. Not really sure why. I feel like he should save it for the immortality spells, which Blazing still has. Yep. There's another immortality spell from Zena. A lot of support there for Konju, and some Chiyu shield from his Asian ally. And Blazing has to pull back once again, but not completely. Obviously, he can just wait it out. Now they both disengage, and let's see if Blazing will decide to keep fighting here. There's been a tower sniped by Konju. Nice their move. I don't think they lost much there, unfortunately for Konju, but nice snipe there nonetheless. And they both disengage. Looks like Blazing lost too many soldiers, and Konju had a lot of spears, which meant Blazing had really difficult time fighting. And if Blazing lost too many, Konju could go for a counter attack, and he would succeed with that many spears. So Blazing had to be careful. He still has a convert, almost 2, so I feel like they should try to do something there maybe. It looks like now Hanzi, it's Hanzi's turn to push. So a lot of action all of a sudden. He hasn't claimed all the gold, he's only now doing so. He doesn't have a lot of melee troops. He will go for this tower though, which I said was in a very weak spot for Gadget, and that if he loses it, he will lose plenty of mines. Now Hanzi has way more soldiers, so he can afford to control forward. And it's always a difficult time when you have to, when there's one player attacking and 3 players are defending. As you can see, they, for the love of God, they cannot coordinate well, and they're losing troops left and right, and Hansi is fighting really well here. He's killing a lot without losing almost anything. Now the melee troops come in from the back. I don't think that's enough to claim all those 4 towers, but he's definitely doing a lot of damage. It looks like instead of helping Konju, Varus is going for a counter-attack. Not only here on, not only on Hansi, but also on Eagleschnauzer, which I don't really like. I don't think he can do much. He's fighting against 2 people for no reason. More troops coming in from Gadget, so that might create an opening from Moveful to do some damage. Now Varus here losing troops, unfortunately, and he should go back. Two towers claimed by Hansi. He has to go back because of the reinforcements from the right hand side from Konju. But right now there's troops from 3 players here. That's by Konju, Gadget and Varus, and they will have really tough time coordinating the fights. And I feel like Hansi can regroup and continue fighting. I'd like to see I mean not more, I would like to see any healers here. He could heal up and just continue fighting. Looks like Blazing is feeling blood. I mean, he saw that Konju had to move soldiers in the south, so he's continuing the attack. There's still some mana for Konju, so Blazing is hesitant to use his immortality spells, I reckon. But he did. Konju has a convert still, I believe. Okay, looks like Taco is helping him in this regard. And I mean, you hate to see it as an Amazon. There's nothing you really can do, you just have to wait until all the converts are gone. Now it's a question move by Blazing. Okay, he shoots, so that should be fine. Pestering fear on those soldiers though, so they're not doing much damage. It looks like the spears are really pain in the ass for Blazing. He might lose these 20 troops, which will really suck. That freeze was really brutal. So I'm not really sure still who is upper hand, but I feel like Konju here is getting split thin. He lost some ground, but nothing too crazy. But there, I feel like eventually Mapful he will be able to make a move onto Gadget. Now it's Xena's turn. How many combat power? Almost 100. I don't really have time to compare the production. Good concave there by General, making sure Xena gets stuck on the lake, whereas he has all of his troops are fighting from behind it. General should still have some mana. Yes, he does. He has a lot. I don't think he converts single time. So that's a dangerous move by Xena, because we saw that he used a lot of mana on Konju to help Konju, and at the same time Mupful is moving in, as I said. I feel like if Xena overstays his welcome, which he is, he will fall victim to Genna's counterattack, because he still has 3 converts. And it looks like Mupful is attacking from the north, as I suggested before. As he has a better way of getting into his spears to enemy front line. That attack should be better just from the looks of it. And I'm curious if General will decide to pull the trigger and make a move against Xena. I mean, he can't right now because Mupful is attacking, but once the attack is done, I don't think Mupful will be able to kill Gadget just like that, but he will be able to take some towers and do some damage. Gadget can always call some soldiers if needed. Moving forward very well. 100 combat power. So the goal is pretty even because we saw Senna fighting with similar numbers. Managed to snatch 1 tower, insignificant right now. Has to pull back from the north, but I feel like this fight was slightly better than the previous one. He's losing troops, maybe hoping to claim this tower, which I think will still be insignificant. Maybe a mine will crash or 2, and these residences, but nothing too major. The mine still stands, so that's fine. So slowly but surely, Konju and Gadget losing ground. and I'm waiting for Generalin's move right now. He's bringing troops from the north, so he realizes that Zena has way fewer soldiers than him, and also he has mana. So that should be a decisive attack for his team, and that should, I feel like, end the game more or less. Unless they can call, which I think they cannot, right? They can call once, which doesn't really do anything. So not only he has some spears, way more than Zena, which doesn't have any, he has 3 converts, which should be nailed to the coffin. Varus losing some additional troops in the middle. Now I'm really curious if they can save Zena. Obviously, when the Amazon dies, that's a GG. They can steal the gold, they can move the gold away and still continue playing for some time, but not for too long. Zena crushes the towers in the front. There's only this one in the back, so that's a dangerous move. He cannot build anything right now because he doesn't have a tower with troops. No, he has 2. Sorry. There's somewhere another one here in the south. So he chooses to defend really far in the back, really far back. Looks like blue is taking gold, so Taco will make a move, and I think like they should now decide whether they want to defend Zena or keep pushing, because I feel like if Taco sent reinforcements, they could save him. Varus can still call a lot of times. He could call 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6. So that's over 100 soldiers from Taco that could be here saving Zena. And I mean, these towers are not really protected, so some attack from the side wouldn't be too bad. Now General isn't really sending pioneers to the gold because he knows he doesn't have control over it. There is a call from Gadget, yeah, which is strange to me. I think like Gadget is really spread thin there, so they shouldn't be calling from him. I think like they should be calling from Taco. That is their choice. Now there is a small army by Zena that should get slaughtered by Generalen. Cut off into the corner and just crushed. Nice move by Generalen, really nice. A nice save there by Varus, I guess. So they managed to save 20 soldiers, but they lost still. And at 20. Now Taco pushing out in the middle. Let's compare armies real quick. 500 for Taco versus Eagle Schnauzer. 420. But he has help from Hanzi, so that fight should go pretty evenly. Taco, 101 combat power. South, there's nothing he can do. In the middle, maybe, but he's not really fighting that well. He gets frozen by blazing. At the same time, he's working against the clock because Generalan is closing in on the gold. So instead of saving Zena, they chose to push in the middle. Which from my perspective, that's a bad move, but they don't really know how many soldiers everyone has. So I'm not surprised they couldn't guess correctly. I guess Varus is sending troops to help anyway. I mean, he could walk by foot at this point because Generalen took a lot of time to master the attack on the gold. Taco continues fighting. He has to retreat in the south. But in the middle, it's still going. I'm not sure of the mana situation. Eagle still has 3 converts, so I don't think that's gonna work. They managed to create a stable concave against Generalen, but I think he just has too many troops, and he's obviously working with... Okay, 101 combat power, so he doesn't have an advantage, but he still has Roman soldiers versus majority of Amazon army. They have to call more soldiers, but I think that they're just bleeding their army. And the middle attack will not make any progress in the looks of things. Although Taco is definitely trying. Generalen force is dwindling, but so does Zena's and Varus's troops. He's trying to make some damage, make some dent into Zena's economy, but doesn't really achieve anything. He's going back for now, but I feel like he will come back pretty soon. He managed to breach the front line, so it's a matter of time before he comes back stronger. And as I said many times, there are two objectives on the map: kill all towers, all enemy towers, or just take the gold. And Garan has gold in sight. I don't see why they would stop pursuing. So it looks like the numbers game are in favor of Generalin's team right now. They have an upper hand. They have the advantage of not only army, but I feel like gold as well. Now Mopeful is pushing here in the middle. I feel like that's a pretty hectic attack, but it might work because he has an advantage of spears and he has numbers advantage as well. I feel like he's not moving the army here, which may be waiting for the gadget to bring something south. That's Geo Shield. No, that's Immortality spell. Okay. Asians have no counter to it, so Gadget has to go back, or maybe count on some convert from his ally, but in this case he just can go back with no problems and wait it out. Now finally troops from the left are also joining the fight, but at this rate the concave for Gadget is significantly better. He could make it even better by crushing some of the buildings, which he decides not to do. And yeah, I feel like he could crush this attack really easily had he crushed these three buildings. Now decides to crush something, but I'm not really sure why he's waiting so long. He's losing advantage on the left side, but he crushed this building, which I guess maybe not, because the tower fell. Really poor fighting there by Gadget. He will lose the north. And the tower in the middle falls, crushing a lot of buildings, which, funnily enough, is better for Gadget, because he now has free land to fight, although that's the enemy land, at least a strip in the middle. So it looks like Mofel gained a lot of momentum on Gadget and pushing him back once again. Some reinforcements from Varys will save the day for now, but not for long, I feel like. And once this attack concludes, I feel like General will attack once again into Zena. Konju sending in some reinforcements. He's obviously in a deficit against both Blazing and Hanzi. Again, I feel like Mupful is not really doing a good job attacking, but at the same time the defense by Gadget was really hectic. Now bold move by Varys, attacking underbelly of Generalen. Generalen still should have some mana, 2 converts ready. So he's pretty safe here, but he has to use them quickly, yeah. Converting the spears, making sure that the Mupful's bows can survive. This is pretty dire in the south. He will convert again, I feel like. Yes, he does, so he should be able to save the tower and deflect the attack. Oh, this tower is almost dead. not enough melee troops for now, but he should be able to take it. That's a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Nice job by Varus. At the same time, there's a lot going on in the north, because Blazing is making a move on Konju, and he learned from last fight. He made a lot of spears, and at this time rate, I don't think Konju should have much mana. Crushing buildings, really good idea. Immortality spell going on the spears, not the greatest, because immortality spells, the soldiers are mortal to archer fire, not to spears. So, I mean, he's still winning this fight, but not ideal place to cast it. And I guess Blazing has to retreat once again. That's pretty frustrating to playing as Amazon, being in his position where he has a clear advantage in terms of numbers, but can't really do much because of the mana and health on Konji's soldiers. Also, Konji is doing a good job of defending. He's never letting Blazing have an upper hand. Looks like Varus continues pushing, and he managed to destroy this whole underbelly of Generalen. Insane move. It looks like they're still in the game. Blazing will snatch a tower, maybe two, but that's about it. Nothing too crazy. Var is good and deep. I'm not really sure what he's looking for here. Maybe just to kill off some army, which it definitely is. I'm not really sure what General is feeling. Maybe he's panicking a little bit because Hanzi is now pushing in. He shouldn't be able to do much, but what he will do is he will bring the troops from Gadget south, which will create an opening for Ruthless to deal a killing blow to Gadget. At the same time, a little counterattack by Konju. Varus still going ham. He will lose those troops. Unfortunately, he did not manage to claim this tower. It was so close. If he had some swords hitting it, he should be able to do it, but failed to do so. Konju, bold move going in, may be able to snatch a tower or two. Great fighting by Varus, or just poor fighting by Mufal. I'm not really sure what's going on here. He should now have pushed forward maybe and just killed his troops altogether. Looks like Hanzi's attack has to go back because Konju is threatening a slight surrender. Not surrender, surround. But yeah, there's not enough troops. Now maybe he'll go for Konju, which doesn't have much cover for those towers. But he would have to engage more melee troops. There's an attack going on middle, I can see it. Eagle Schnauzer decide to make a move. Both with Hanzi at the same time. I'll see if they split the gold. 80-86 for and 90 for Hanzi. So 86 for Eagle and 90 for Hanzi. So they're splitting the gold. And I feel like Taco might crumble here. They certainly outnumber him and he's all on his own. I wonder how is the mana situation, but I feel like there's no converts for Taco at all. At the same time, Eagle Schnauzer is staying back with his priest. Taco doing what he can, a lot of help actually from Varus. That's a good concave. I feel like there's just not enough soldiers there, unfortunately. South is also falling for Taco. This line is getting thinner and thinner. They may be able to salvage the north, but the south is looking grim. At the same time, by crazy idea, Zena decided to push in. He cannot use the immortality spell, maybe because he doesn't have it, but certainly General has a convert ready waiting. Good concave there by Zena, so he's doing some damage. Eagle trying to get into those towers with spears though, so it's going to take a while, but they should have an overwhelming army in the south. Also in the north they won by just a sliver. Zena is still fighting here. I mean he has to do something. If not, his team looks like he's losing. So it looks like north is fine for now. For Taco, he managed to push the enemies back, but south is looking grim. They still don't have troops, melee troops, to claim this tower. It just should be a matter of time. There's some swords coming in from Eagle. And I don't see this army being stopped. And once this tower falls, that's a huge blow to Taco's economy. They basically cut him in half. And there's huge losses for them as well. There's a great concave for Hanzi, and Taco and Varus don't have enough troops to hold on. From what I can see, Varus is run out of settlers because of the of the push on the Generalen's side. He claims some resources, and that looks like it's a nail to the coffin for Taco. They fought very well. To be honest, we weren't really sure which front had an upper hand, and they were sending reinforcements just barely fast enough to hold, but eventually they ran out of soldiers, and first cracks and then it's a big hole in the front. Now some desperate attack from Gadget, just throwing soldiers in, seeing what he can do. There's not much he can do, and looks like it's going to be a GG, and Generalen's team are victorious once again. The game was way closer though than I thought, and definitely way closer than the last game. They put a pretty good fight, especially the move here by Varus pushing into Generalen's land. I did not expect that. And now it's just a matter of time before they decide to make the next move. I guess they will just go for Zena, take the gold, and win. And probably Zena's team will just surrender pretty soon. I'm curious about the numbers, how Konju compares with Generalen. I stopped tracking their progress in terms of economy and weapons production. Later on, I feel like Konju's caught up maybe, or General was not really fighting that well. Because Konju managed to defend Blazing and at the same time apply some pressure on Hanzi, whereas Generalen was constantly just fighting 1v1 versus Zena. It's probably the last fight of the whole game. Zena just exhausting his troops. Still putting a pretty good fight. Probably has way over 100 in combat power at 107. So that's where at this point his army is stronger on enemy land. Looks like Blazing is not trying to make any moves against Konju. He'll just wait for Konju to surrender along with his team. Still 2 converts for... that's Eagle Schnauzer, right? Yeah. Oh, that means the Taco had no chance whatsoever to survive. And part of it, yeah, it looks like Varus has run out of settlers really badly, which is a shame because his production is really good. maybe Taka could fight slightly longer. Now they're finishing off Gadget. And they finally managed to cut off this passage and destroy the mines. And Team 2 surrenders. Congratulations to Granada's team. They fought really well, especially in terms of army movements and how they were attacking both Gadget and then Zena and then Gadget again. Okay, let's go into the stats. I'm curious how the teams compare. So it looks like army-wise, in terms of the whole team, so that they have around 350, 320 something soldiers more. So that's not too big of a deal, considering Taco's dead for last 3 minutes or so, maybe even 5, because he lost a lot of production earlier before dying, obviously. The fights are slightly in favor, but it's still not too big a deal. Once you break the front, obviously fight better. In terms of individual players, we can see Zena vs Generalen. These fights were great for Zena. Some of it was because obviously Amazons are weaker, but at the same time I feel like there was some overstaying and by Zena, and maybe he thought he had to do something where it wasn't the case, and maybe just playing slightly more careful would be better for them. At the same time, Blazing didn't really kill much for, again, fighting in Konju. Obviously, he didn't lose all of his army. Konju only killed 530 something, but you could see the fights were going great for him. I feel like he just, as an Amazon, you just have to endure this bullshit of converts and festering fears and everything, and only then you can do something. But at the same time, if the Roman is clever, he will always wait with a convert or two until you cast the immortality spells. Who else? Other than that, the fights are pretty even. Yeah, Mupful has about the same as Gadget, but he just produced way more. You can see the differences. The Mupful produced 200 more than Gadget, 250 more. Zena outproduced Blazing by 200, which was, I think the difference was very small, around 1 hour, 1 hour and 15, but because Zena invested so much into farms in the mid game, he got a really nice jump into the late game, and he managed to outproduce Blazing by a lot. But it wasn't enough. The Amazons just suffer from lack of HP on their soldiers, unfortunately. At the same time, Taco 730 against Igelschnauze 780, and I mean, Taco likes to talk big game, but looks like Eagle was better. Obviously, we can say that they were even in terms of soldiers because Taco lost some production at the end of the game, but still, as a player with way more elo, he should deliver, and he should be the one to make a difference for his team. So a good job for Igelschnauze there, even though he's last in the stats, he managed to best his enemy. And then Varys 850 against Hanzi 970. I feel like Varys had still a lot of weapons lying around, so that number would be slightly closer, but nonetheless Hanzi better there, as to be expected. And then Generalen 950 or like 60 versus Konju. So the difference isn't as big as I thought. I feel like going into the late game, Konju was more behind, but then maybe some mistakes by Generalen, and he lost that patch of land to Varys towards the end of the game, so maybe that played some factor, but nonetheless Konju, nice comeback there in terms of army size to Generalen. It looked pretty bad in the early game especially. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and I hope maybe we can see each other next week, because Generalen said something that these might come in regular if he has the will to organize it, which, I mean, it's not easy, right, to get 10 players on the same time and the same hour, the same day. So we'll see. But thanks for watching, and bye bye.